Welcome to the HMG Executive Leadership Spotlight. Here's our host, Hunter Muller.
Hello and welcome to the HMG Spotlight. I'm Hunter Muller, founder and CEO of HMG Strategy. I'm here with Gerald Beuchelt. He's the CISO and Senior Vice President of Sprinklr. Gerald, congratulations on being a 2024 HMG Global Leadership CISO of the Year.
Thank you so much, Hunter. It's really an honor to be a recipient of this prestigious award and to be here with you. This is great for obviously me personally, but obviously also for Sprinklr as well. So I really appreciate you reaching out, and this is great.
Great stuff. You know, we're studying in 2024 and beyond what global visionary leadership means today in the enterprise for the CISO, for the CIO, and for the C-suite. Why does global visionary leadership in this day and age matter so much?
At the end of the day, it's like if we're looking at what we're trying to achieve as a company or as an industry, it's like we're really aiming to make the life for our customers easier, better. It's like Sprinklr aims to be the most loved enterprise software company, which sometimes feels a little bit like an oxymoron, I guess, but it's like at the same time, it's like we set our goals high. So I think in order to achieve those kind of move forwards towards those kind of goals, you really have to start thinking a little bit outside the box. You cannot just think about security or software design development in the traditional kind of ways. What does that ultimately mean? It's like it means obviously very aggressively and actively working with our customers to see what they need and what they want and how they work. But then at the same time, it's like obviously also working with the different stakeholders within the company, especially with our CEO, Raji Thomas, and then our board as well. So what the focus here really is like to find a good way of how we can balance the necessary innovations, improvements, and expansion in our product with the security demands that our customers rely on as well when it comes to this kind of type of software. The way we've been trying to do this is really focusing on understanding the business objectives that the line of businesses have, and then presenting them with the appropriate kind of courses of action in order to figure out how they can do this in a safe way.
Gerald, you'd have to agree that we're in unprecedented times with all sorts of geopolitical crosswinds around the world. China taking on an aggressive stance in the world against Taiwan. When you think about the nation-state threats across the world to its critical infrastructure and to the enterprise, where's the promise, the hope, and the idea in terms of securing the enterprise?
So obviously, it's like we got to look at the entire spectrum of threat actors, and I know it's like everybody loves to talk about nation-state actors because that's interesting. That's where the innovation in breaking into things happens many times. But I think it's also really important to not lose sight of all the other kind of threats that every company is exposed to on a daily basis. It's like we have to make sure that we get the basics right. It's like, and this starts with simple stuff. Defending against simple script kiddies, defending against opportunists who aim to make some wins, all the way up through organized crime into the threat actor. So I think the key element here is really to find the sweet spot. It's like where does the company play? Are we even a target for a nation-state actor? It's like, and if so, to what extent and in what ways? And then really build out a program that is covering all the bases, but then also makes the right kind of smart choices when it comes to investing into detection and protective technology for more advanced threats.
So where in the enterprise are you placing your strategic bets? What are you buying?
So for us, it's like we have really transitioned into a fully SaaS-based kind of company. It's like the goal here really was right from the start. We play in the cloud, and we play in the cloud all the way. We don't own any servers, right? It's like, and that makes my life, as you can imagine, a lot easier as we stand there already. We have laptops and we have software that serves. The focus is on a zero trust environment where the identity and to some extent the devices that our users and our employees interact with are the center point of our attention. And we have been heavily investing into that and are continuing to invest into that. Some of the biggest challenges there that I always see is particularly around identity management. But ultimately, that is really the core of or the main line of defense in so many ways. This includes employee identities, this includes device identities, this includes service accounts, and also, and that is really, really important, the overall governance thereof. So it's like we really have to think about joiners, movers, levers, not only for our own single sign-on solution, but also for those kind of systems that cannot be integrated, and for those kind of systems that our users interact with in our customers' accounts, because that happens all the time as well, or even fourth-party systems. Those challenges, I think, are really most interesting and really require a lot of advanced thinking, integrations, sometimes administrative processes in order to get right.
You know, there's been a lot of news out of Washington in the fall. The SEC guidelines were published. And most recently, just in the past few weeks, the White House is looking at shifting the balance back to the providers, the vendors, in terms of requiring them to be responsible for the products and services they deliver. What's your take on the whole, really the regulation, where we stand now, and what's next?
I think it's a two-edged sword in so many ways. It's like on the one side, this is something that we as a security community, as a software industry, have been asking for some time. It's like, let's make sure that that security does play a critical role in the way we run our businesses, in the way we develop our software and ultimately deploy them to companies. It is at the same time a very dangerous path, and you can make a lot of mistakes, and I'm hoping that we can avoid them as we move forward. If we look, for example, at some of the rules and regulations that the SEC has passed last year, I'm fairly supportive. It's like most of the way, because I do think this really brings the topic of security, of cybersecurity, into the boardroom, not only at software companies, but at all kind of public companies, and hopefully beyond. But at the same time, we have to avoid excesses or things that I would see personally as excesses, as some of the enforcement actions around SolarWinds. I think there's a lot of things that still need to be figured out and seen as like in how far the accountability has been put right. Same thing with the recent kind of like announcements around the software, the liability kind of like reversal in terms of like how it was. I think generally it's like it is a good thing to make software companies more accountable for the kind of products they deliver. But we also have to look at some of the unintended side consequences. If I'm, as a CISO, suddenly responsible and liable for any kind of open source package that I use, I will start to shy away from those, and I will try to steer my developers away from that. And that can potentially slow down innovation. That can potentially harm the open source industry or the marketplace quite a bit. So we really want to make sure that we find a good way that balances some of those kind of like necessary moves forward when it comes to regulation and potential negative impacts on the overall market.
Interesting times, right? Thank you for the great answer there. Gerald, when you think about working with the line of business, the C-suite, the CEO, and the board, what's top of mind?
Risk. It's all about risk. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like if you really look at what we're trying to do here, is we're trying to get to a place where we can reduce the risk to the company, to our customers, to our investors, and to the ecosystem writ large, by making the right kind of like investments in security and in the respective kind of like things that move the needle from that perspective. I'm not interested in doing security because of security. That is a fairly naive kind of view, and I think it really does not get good funding. It's hard to sell to a senior leader or to a board member. So really, it's like what is critical in my mind is to make sure that everything that our team does, everything that we work on with our partners across the enterprise and sometimes beyond, is actually presented in the light of how does that reduce or maintain or treat risk that stems from the various kind of threats that we see on the internet. And I think that discussion, if you really move it forward along those lines, is much better suited to work essentially with a director or with somebody on the executive leadership team who is not in a technology position.
Gerald, congratulations on being HMG 2024 CISO of the Year.
Thank you, Hunter. Much appreciated. This is really great, and I'm looking forward to seeing you in person soon.
For more information, please visit hmgstrategy.com and keep up to date by following us on our social media platforms. Thank you.